They are the children of the future. And yes, you are both correct. Let's find a solution to address climate change through gotong royong or mutual cooperation for the benefit of all. A round of applause one more time for Susi and Nabil. Thank you. I hope you remember when you were young, and that was the faces of the youth or the young generation. And again, we have to address the problem of climate crisis or climate change because it is the future of the children and the children's children that will be at stake. Ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to kindly invite to deliver a welcoming remark His Excellency, the Coordinating Minister of Maritime Affairs and Investment of the Republic of Indonesia. Join me in welcoming Mr. Luhut Binsar Panjaitan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my very good friend, World Bank President, Pak Jai, Excellency, and Madam, and Pak Sarul, Minister Jin Juang Lang, and my colleague, Minister of Energy, Arifin, Minister of Finance, Ibu Ani. I should address Ibu Ani, otherwise they not give me fund for my project, you know. So, and ladies and gentlemen, good again. This is. I hope you are enjoyed the ISF day one so far, and this forum. This is the first time we organize in Jakarta. And we like to do this forum, annual forum, every year. So that we see also the participants enjoy very much this morning. Quite many people attend this one from the different background. So we do hope that this could also produce some fruitful things that we can share with the people of Indonesia and also some from the foreign countries. And today, about time to enjoy our dinner. So enjoy our dinner and hope you enjoy also the food that we're going to give tonight. Thank you very much and good night. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you.
Next, we have a fire chat with 3 prominent speakers. The topic is on advancing decarbonization and sustainability in developing countries, the role of multilateral organization. While the stage is being rearranged, we still would like to kindly invite on stage to moderate this session and to kick off the fire chat, former World Bank Managing Director of Development Policy and Partnerships, Professor of International Economics at the University of Indonesia, and Senior Fellow at Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, Special Envoy for the Global Blended Finance Alliance, GBFA. Her list of title is so long. I think she is one of the most powerful ladies, along with Ibu Sri Mulyani on her table from Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ibu Mari Elka Pangestu.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fireside chat. I'm happy to be moderating this session. This is the appetizer, actually, for your lovely dinner and culture performance that's coming shortly. So we'd like to keep it brief and hopefully whet up your appetite for this very important topic. I hope you're as hungry as I am to learn about how multilateral cooperation and international organizations can really advance decarbonization and sustainability in developing countries. And we know that the ISF, since today and tomorrow, will be discussing a lot of concrete ideas about solutions, technological breakthroughs, as well as investment opportunities in various sectors. But we also know that we need enablers, financial and non-financial, to make this happen at scale and with impact. And this is where the role of international organizations and support comes in. As you know, Indonesia's net zero target for 2060 or earlier is requiring for international support. So I couldn't think of a better panel than who we have tonight to address this very important topic. First of all, let me invite to the stage His Excellency Minister Luhut Panjaitan, Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment. Pak Luhut, please come to the stage. And the second speaker is His Excellency Ajay Banga, President of the World Bank. May I invite you to come onto the stage. And the third speaker is none other than Her Excellency Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati, our Minister of Finance. Please, Ibu Ani, come on stage. Thank you for joining our panel this evening. And I just want to kick off our discussion and start with the most senior person on the stage, which is Pak Luhut. Pak Luhut, if I can start.
He's also the only person with no connection to the World Bank.
That's true, that's true.
The rest of us are all connected, right?
Yeah. You're right, Ajay. So, Pak Luhut, I wanted to start by saying that I often hear you talk about your granddaughter, Faye. And you always, in many of your speeches, you always say, well, she's the one that I have to be very serious about addressing sustainable development in Indonesia, because she's always reminding me how your generation, our generation, need to take this seriously and act now and at scale. So we know that you have been one of the major drivers for Indonesia's green and sustainable and resilient and inclusive strategy. So if you could share your highlights of your strategy, lessons learned, and how do you see moving forward? And because we are talking about the role of international organizations, and as I just said, you're the only non-bank related person on this panel, what do you honestly think the World Bank could and should do? Thank you.
Thank you, Mari. First of all, I'm a minority right now here because there are 3 World Bank people here. So, yeah, Ibu Ani and Ibu Mari, and of course the boss of World Bank. Number 2, I think Indonesia really very care on climate change today. Because if you look at the data today, Indonesia is still 2.3 ton per capita, I think, the carbon emission. And the other developed countries are really like 14, 15 ton per capita. So how do we maintain our carbon emission around below 4.5 ton per capita, but in the same time, we have to maintain our economic growth. That's, I think, our strategy we have to maintain. That's number 1. I think if you look at this also, the data, Indonesia is still growing despite the high baseline. Indonesia grows solid by 5.5%, 5.2% Q2 2023. This is, I think, because of the the solid team of the government of Indonesia, but that we work together very much, And this is, if you look at also Mandiri spending index, also showing that Indonesia doing pretty well, and investment realization also doing good. So overall, I think our economy today is very good. But at the same time, again, like I mentioned earlier, we have to start with the JETP. We have to do early retirement coal fire, for instance. But again, we have to be careful to do so, because we don't want, again, to jeopardize our economic growth because of this climate change. Because again, our contribution carbon emission still 2.3%. The thing that I keep telling to the John Kerry, that we are serious to do this one, but again, you have to understand we don't want to have a problem with our economy.
Do you want to add anything about what you think the World Bank could do or should do? Do you want to add anything about what the World Bank or international organizations should be doing?
Well, I think the World Bank helped us very much. We've been doing like simple things, I should say, for instance, like Ibu Satu in World Bank Jakarta. They help us, for instance, for like, mangrove. I'm not talking now the big thing, I'm talking the down to the ground, rehabilitation of mangrove. We have program like 600,000 hectares. And we have also like waste management, and how do we control the 35,000 tons per day waste or garbage around the country. So we built 52 spots on the RDF and also the World Bank. President World Bank Ajay agreed yesterday when we had a lunch to add another 56 spot of the RDF. So then this thing could help a lot to reduce waste entering ocean. So the last 4 years we are able to manage 36% to reduce the waste entering the ocean. I think the role of the World Bank is very much, that's the reason we really love Pa Ajay to visit Indonesia to have a look what we are doing. So he went yesterday to the mangrove rehabilitation and somewhere near Jakarta with our team.
Thank you, Pak Luhut. Now let me turn to the boss of the World Bank. You've been there for 3 months now, heading the most important development international institution in the world. And you came at a time when the World Bank is being challenged to do more, and the more is in capital letters, I think. But to your credit, day one from when you started, you actually asked all staff to double down and really work on a vision, not just a world without poverty, but a world without poverty on a livable planet, if I got your vision right. So how do you see the World Bank delivering the call to do more, and not just on financing, but also of knowledge? I think this is one of the really unique advantages of the World Bank as an institution, so that we can really scale up the impact for climate and development for developing countries.
So first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for getting me here. It's been 90 odd days. I would say I'm learning every day what fabulous people the bank has in terms of their knowledge. You're both alums of the bank, and you are the kind of people that makes the bank what it is. The question is, how does the bank not live on its previous 78 years, but gets redesigned for the coming 30, 40 years? Because our challenges have changed and evolved. What was our challenge at that time was poverty and poverty alleviation and spreading prosperity. Today, it is clear that pandemics, climate change, fragility, food insecurity, these things that on the ground in government you are dealing with every day, these things are interconnected to the fight against poverty, to the fight against inequality. You cannot separate them. Hence the idea of changing the vision to include not just poverty, but being on a livable planet. Now, my belief is that there are 3 ways the bank can make a difference. And the first way refers to the point that, Murray, you made about the the knowledge bank. Where the bank can help enormously is on policy and the right regulations and the right policy on the ground. We have done studies over the years in the bank. If you get the right policies on the ground, the cost of achieving a goal becomes half of what it would be if you were struggling with the wrong policies. The things you are doing in Indonesia in the last few years on liberalizing investment climate, labor, your fiscal reforms, your tax to revenue ratios, there are a lot of things that your government is doing in the reform space that makes it easier for you to succeed. The bank can help you with that kind of policy reform and has worked closely with your government and is working with others in the ASEAN region on that topic. Now that to me is knowledge transfer, success transfer, very important. The second place where we can help is replicability and scalability. So what do I mean by that? Palo just was talking about my visiting the mangrove plantations 2 days ago, and this morning I went with your health minister, Budi, to see stunting work going on in a village close by, where we are working with the village to improve the education and the nutrition of mothers and children in the first 1,000 days. The question is, it's not just the one project on mangroves, no matter how important that is for Indonesia. It's not just the one project on stunting, no matter how important that is for Indonesia. How many more of these can we do? If you're doing one mangrove plantation, why not 10? If you're doing 10, why not 20? If you're doing them in Indonesia, why not in other countries where mangroves are important for the fight against climate change? So in the same way, stunting is not a problem only in Indonesia. It is a problem in other countries as well. Our honorable minister is here from China. China for the past 15, 20 years has done an amazing job on nutrition and education for young children and mothers. There is a lesson to be learned from there, and a lesson to be learned from here, and a lesson to be learned from Peru, where we have done this, and take it elsewhere. So I think scalability and replicability is the second big thing. The third idea is the idea of partnerships. So partnerships are not just with government, although that has been very helpful with people like Sri Mulyani and Luhut here. It is more than the partnership with government. It is the partnership with other organizations, NGOs on the one hand, but even more importantly, other multilateral banks. So I will give you an example, Maria. I just launched a partnership with the Inter-American Development Bank, whom you both know well. We're going to work together on the Amazon, not just reforestation, but economic development in the Amazon. I plan to take learnings from the mangrove project here into that work. Second, we're going to work on digitization of government, but digitization of consumers. And third, we're going to work together on helping to fight the catastrophes that climate change is causing in Caribbean islands. Now, why does this partnership matter? 2 plus 2 is not 4. 2 plus 2 is 5 and 6. And I think this video you showed of those two young children who talked about collaboration, I think we have to make something serious out of collaboration. So the bank can help with policy, we can help with replicability and scalability, and we can help with collaboration. And we have the right people. We have to energize our people. We have to focus them, but we can help.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ajay. Let me now turn to you, Ibu Ani, by just recalling what I would say is the most quotable quote at the COP26. When after you thanked Mark Carney from the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero, when he promised the 130 trillion, you famously said, Mark, I only need 280 billion out of your 130 trillion. Where's the money? And then you went on to explain, how Indonesia has a strategy and has allocated government budget for financing the needs for decarbonization. So how do you see, the rest has to come from somewhere. So how do you see the external support, including the role of the World Bank and other international organizations in being able to fulfill this gap and being the financial and non-financial enabler for Indonesia?
Thank you, Bu Mari, Pak Luhut, and Ajay, and all audience. First, I think when we talk about sustainability, we are all always then facing with a stumbling block, which is very important, is financing. Many has already make an estimation, what does it take to actually save the world from this climate change threat. Sustainable finance is one of the most important, and we are all know that the need to mobilize funding is very, very critical. Let's say for the Indonesia, as Pak Luhut has already mentioned, that we are going to continue growing, and the elasticity of demand for energy is going to be much higher. So that means every 5% growth of the economy, we are going to have a growth on energy which is much larger. So how you are going to reconcile between continue growing without deteriorating on the carbon emission? We have to invest more on the renewable, but also there is a proposal to retire the coal earlier. So when we discuss within the UNFCCC, like in the Glasgow COP26, it was estimated that for Indonesia to be able to deliver our national determined contribution, that is a reduction of the CO2, more than 42% now with the international cooperation, it will require more than 280 billion US dollar. Public money from our own budget contributed less than 30%. We did quite a lot of budget tagging, issuance of the green sukuk, a green bond. We also creating a blended finance. This is in order for us to be able to create a platform of partnership. The third element that Ajay mentioned about partnership. So the discussion now is actually not at the level of how we are going to deliver this kind of blended finance cooperation of the partnership. How you are going to create scalability, as Ajay mentioned, by actually testing what it works for a certain project. So for example, for Indonesia, Pak Luhut also already mentioned in many forums that we are going to retire coal. We've already identified coal power plant. And then now we really at the level of discussing how much it takes to retire those coal. It will affect the PLN, that is electricity company balance sheet. If this coal is going to be retired, then it becomes stranded asset. The balance sheet is going to be then have this equity that need to be refilled again. With renewable energy, which need a capex, that is capital spending, at the time when the interest rate or the rate today is expensive. So these are all become a real identified issue. It's no longer just talking about trillion of money or 280 trillion. We talk about retiring, for example, Cirebon, 660 megawatt. By 7 years, that is reducing 4.4 million gigawatt ton of CO2. It will take 330 million US dollar. Then we have to blend between equity as well as borrowing. When the interest rate is becoming expensive, who's going to pay for that? So Ibu Mari, I think what I'm saying is actually we are now really trying to make or to create a nudge, a new progress, or at least a progress as a platform in which everybody can look in a much more detail. Because if it is not, then we are going to talk about the sustainability forum in so many different places, everybody flying, and of course you have mileage, and you producing CO2, but not delivering result. And we are creating a worsening situation for the world. So every meeting, we have to have an ambition that a progress need to be made. And where the issue that need to be actually need to be solved. First, on the regulatory, as Ajay mentioned, there are many financing now. They hold trillion of money, but they cannot finance retirement of coal because of the ESG, because of the taxonomy. And that's why ASEAN finance ministers and central bank governor, our meeting, we are producing ASEAN taxonomy version 2, which is telling that retiring coal is called as an amber, which actually can be considered not punishing them to commit the ESG violation. That's really important, but this is only in ASEAN. We talk with all our ASEAN country, how the capital market will behave. This is not yet tested. We are going to discuss with all the financial institutions how this taxonomy will work. That's why we have to continue working. This is going to be the next ASEAN chairmanship under Laos in which we are going to continue work. The second one is, of course, on really creating the blended finance that work. If we have the private sector philanthropy, we also have public money, and we have also the state-owned enterprises, how you are going to blend this financing for one specific project, which one is going to contribute which part, so that at the end of the day, when we, in this case, stranded the assets of the coal or building new renewable, we are going to be able to have the rate of return in which all the stakeholder is going to be satisfied with a certain risk appetite. The third one is, of course, for all of us to then replicate and scalable, just like Ajay mentioned. We cannot replicate until we have one piloting which is working for everyone. And that is exactly what we are trying to do this time. And that's why within the UNFCCC next COP28, we would like to, again, Indonesia will show from President Jokowi announcing energy transition mechanism in Glasgow, 26. Also, when we chairing the G20 on a sustainable finance, President Jokowi announcing, and we have the JETP $20 billion commitment, which need to be then tested on how we use that to the real transaction that will work. I think that will make a lot of useful progress for all stakeholders within this discussion.
Thank you so much, Ibu Ani. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our allocated time for this fireside chat, and we don't want to stand between you and dinner. So let me end this session just with a 1-minute summary. I think we have heard really powerful messages here, and these are messages that that we need to deliver for the sake of Faye, as well as Susie and Nabil, right? For the future generation. And it can't just be about words and pledges. It has to be now about action. And how do we have action? It is about getting the right regulations and having the country platforms that can have the reforms and the policies. And that comes to the knowledge part of the bank. And also, this platform is about partnerships and gotong royong, as was the message earlier. And gotong royong is really what it's all about. To reach scale and impact, we all need to come together. But how do we come together? I think Ibu Ani has highlighted how Indonesia is having a way forward on creating these platforms. And then, of course, how do we scale? And we have all been working, and I think a lot of the examples have been provided in this forum, how we can actually structure some of these examples, which hopefully can be scaled up and be able to attract the financing from all sources, including from the international organizations such as the World Bank. So let me end with asking all of you to give a big round of applause to our 3 excellent panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Please remain on stage. We would like to take a photo opportunity for a photo session first. It won't take long. Juru foto, silakan. 2 pose. The first one is the formal one. Formal picture. One, 2, 3. The second pose, do you want to make a fist? Do you want to, how do you want? Oh, okay, that looks good. Okay, Mr. Bangga, you have taken 2 ladies here, the ASEAN way, ladies and gentlemen. Please do not pull Minister Luhut Binsar Panjaitan to the bank yet. He has other work to do, a lot of work for Indonesia. Thank you so much. Please kindly return to your seats. Very short but very powerful from our prominent speakers and also moderator Ibu Mari Elka Pangestu. Before I continue with the next program, I'd like to greet His Excellency, Minister Arifin Tasrif, Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources of the Republic of Indonesia. Thank you for gracing us with your attendance. And also Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry of Malaysia, His Excellency Tengku Safrul Aziz. Thank you once again for gracing us with your attendance as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it now gives me a great pleasure to invite on stage to deliver a speech Minister of Industry and Information Technology of the People's Republic of China, representing the Premier of the People's Republic of China. Join me in welcoming Mr. Chin Suang Long.
尊敬的卢武特部长，尊敬的穆里亚尼部长，尊敬的潘恩杰行长，尊敬的各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，很高兴在美丽的雅加达出席印尼2023可持续论坛。首先，我对论坛的成功举办表示热烈祝贺。这次论坛以追求可持续和包容性增长为主题，针对全球共性挑战，符合各方共同关切，具有很强的现实意义。刚才大家的发言既热情洋溢，又深刻内涵，我听了以后很受鼓舞，很受启发。2年前，习近平主席在联合国大会上提出全球发展倡议，强调要重振联合国2030年可持续发展议程，强调推动实现更加强劲、绿色、健康的全球发展。这集中体现了解决全球发展问题的中国主张和中国方案。其中一个很重要的方面就是坚持人与自然和谐共生，积极应对全球气候变化，加快绿色低碳转型。这些年，我们向国际社会做出了二氧化碳排放力争于2030年前达到峰值，努力争取2060年前实现碳中和的庄严承诺，制定实施了一来自行动计划、行动方案和政策举措。我们大力推动经济社会发展绿色化、低碳化，构建绿色产业链供应链，建成了世界最大的清洁发电体系。新能源汽车产销量连续8年位居世界第一，成为全球第1大绿色贸易经济体。我们深入推进环境污染治理和生物多样化保护，实行最严格的生态环境保护制度，持续打好蓝天、碧水、净土保卫战，实施生物多样性保护重大工程，碳汇能力和适应气候变化能力不断增强。这些年，中国经济在保持较快增长的同时，能耗强度大幅下降，生态环境质量明显改善。美丽中国的画卷正全面铺展开来，我们正在走出一条人与自然的和谐共生、经济发展与环境保护有机统一的 可持续发展路子。这也是中国用实际行动在践行全球发展倡议。当今世界经济增长放缓，气候变化、环境污染正给人类发展进步带来前所未有的挑战。为地球家园计，为子孙后代计，我们必须走可持续发展道路。中方愿与各方一道，推动全球发展倡议走深走实，以发展理念之变、产业结构之变、生态环境之变，加快落实联合国2030年可持续发展议程。第一，发展理念之变，就是坚持绿水青山就是金山银山，树立可持续发展的全球共识。是要绿水青山还是金山银山，这曾经是摆在许多发展中国家面前的两难选择。在当代中国，这个问题已从思想深处得到解决。绿水青山就是金山银山的理念已经深入人心，成为全社会广泛共识和积极行动。人们已从实践成果中尝到甜头，并更加笃信不怠。事实证明，保护生态环境就是保护自然价值和增值自然资本，就是保护经济社会发展潜力和后劲，使绿水青山得以持续转化为金山银山。我们要坚决摒弃那种只顾经济增长，不顾生态环境，只顾本国生态环境，不顾全球生态环境的行为，协同推进降碳、解污、扩绿、增长，共同推进生产发展、生活富裕、生态良好，在守护绿水青山中铸就金山银山。第二，产业结构之变，就是坚持创新驱动，加快绿色低碳转型。我们要从根本上解决可持续发展的结构性深层次问题，必须加快转变生产方式，优化产业结构。新一轮科技革命和产业变革是一个重大的历史性机遇，我们要用好科技创新这个关键变量，加快培育数字经济、先进制造、清洁能源等新经济增长点，努力实现碳达峰、碳中和，是道别经济转型的重要动力。要以此为契机，推进产业绿色化、低碳化转型，发展绿色贸易，塑造全球化的绿色产业链供应链。我们支持世界银行、国际货币基金组织等多边金融机构深化改革，发展绿色金融，为推动可持续发展赋能增效。第三，生态环境之变，就是坚持陆海统筹，加强生态环境系统性保护。陆地和海洋都是人类息息相关的生态系统，海洋是生命的摇篮，是人类可持续发展的重要战略空间。我们要把陆地和海洋作为一个整体进行保护，加强陆地、海洋环境污染综合防治，加强生物多样性保护，整体改善生态系统和人居环境。我们要像爱惜自己的身体一样爱惜生态系统，珍惜和保护每片沃土、每汪碧水、每丛绿树，共同守护全球生态安全，共同建设一个更加美丽、更加宜居的地球家园。中国和印尼同为发展中大国 和海洋大国，推动可持续发展是两国的共同使命。我们愿同印尼持续深化合作，围绕建设中印尼命运共同体，进一步加强发展战略对接，共同应对气候变化。让我们携起手来，以更加积极的姿态，全面推进可持续发展，努力创造更加美好的未来。谢谢大家 ，Thank you。
谢谢 Minister Chin Chuan Long. We are filled with ministers in this room this evening. We would like to greet ministers from Papua New Guinea, Honorable Justin Chachenko and Honorable Walter Schnaubel. Thank you for gracing us with your attention.